Welcome back. We appreciate you spending some time with us here on this Sunday afternoon. Tom Troy, political writer, reporter for the Toledo Blade, our media partner. Glad to have him here on the Roundtable with me. You have been a well-traveled man over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, as we get closer to Election Day, the intensity turns up a little bit. I've had a number of guests on here talking about the importance of Ohio. I can remember back in 2000, Florida. Is it, in your estimation, 2012, Ohio?
I think Ohio is more important in this election than in any previous election. And I covered 2008, of course, and we did see a lot of the candidates. I don't think we saw as much of them in 2008 as we are seeing in 2012.
And we just got word this past week that Mitt Romney will be back in town coming up on Wednesday as part of a bus tour canvassing the state. Right. Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, Cleveland, hitting all the major markets. Right. And obviously, the president and the vice president have been here so many times. Right. Do you expect it to continue over the next 30, 40 days?
I think we will see presidential candidates here every week through the election on November 6th.
In some way, shape, or form.
Right.
Yeah.
Either the presidential candidates or the vice presidential candidates, and high-level surrogates. I mean, possibly Bill Clinton will be in the area. He was here in 2008. I certainly expect him to come back in 2012.
Let's focus back here locally, and as you look at the campaigns that have been put together just this past week, our own political reporter Bill Horman talking to Joe Wurzelbacher, as Joe the Plumber, as he's known, talking about where that campaign is right now, and you had a write-up about it earlier this week as well. Are you shocked that we haven't heard more? I guess Marcy Kaptur doesn't have to put anything out in combating what he's saying, because in everybody's estimation, he's not saying anything.
Well, he's not addressing any local issues at all.
Let me put it, he's not playing it out in the media.
No, he's not. He's not doing it in a traditional way. He thinks he's doing something different. He's trying a different strategy. A lot of other Republicans don't think it's working, and they're disappointed in the lack of visibility of his campaign.
Here's one of the things. I wanted to play a clip from part of his interview this week, and here's what he said to our Bill Horman.
I'm doing it a different way. I always said from the beginning, if I can't get elected being who I am, damn it, I don't want to be elected.
That's it, plain and simple. Does that kind of stance win?
Well, look at the district, first of all. It's a 2-to-1 Democratic district almost. It's
stretching all the way to Cleveland
all the way to Cleveland. It was designed by Republicans to corral as many Democrats as possible. So it was designed for a Democrat to win. So he had an extremely uphill climb to begin with. He was elected by the Republican Party in the primary to represent the Republican Party, to take the Republican conservative issues to the public and articulate those issues in those positions. And he hasn't done that. He's out there making videos. He's out there making fundraising appeals, but he's not in the district. He's not going to party events. He's not going to picnics. He's not taking the opportunities to do debates with his opponent. He's not returning media phone calls. He's really underground.
And our reporting also finds that he's lacking in funds as far as the campaign is concerned. As you made some statement as far as the corralling of Democrats and drawing these districts up, is it your belief that by lopping together Toledo and Cleveland, you're freeing up Republican candidates in the other districts for potential victory?
That seems to have been the purpose of the redistricting plan. They had to reduce from 18 congressional districts to 16 congressional districts, and since they control the process, the Republicans wanted to maximize political benefit for themselves. So they created 4 districts that are pretty solidly Democratic, and 12 that should be pretty strongly Republican.
Senate race, congressional race. Which one has better theater? Josh Mandel, Sherrod Brown, or Bob Latta and Angela Zinman?
Well, in the Senate race, we have 2 candidates who are going head to head, who are running a public campaign, spending money, raising issues, responding to issues. So it's a more high-profile competition.
But it's gotten nasty.
It's been nasty from the start.
Yeah.
It's been nasty from the start, and there's been charges back and forth of, you're misrepresenting, you're lying, your pants are on fire. It's all being fought out in TV ads, and that's really where the election is going to come down, going to be decided.
Yeah, and as far as the Bob Latta race with Angela Zinman, and Angela saying he keeps not showing up at these events.
Well, it's when you're the incumbent in a district that favors you, it's really not in your interest to give your opponent a platform. So it's traditional political strategy for him to avoid these opportunities, and she's taken the case to him. She's a very feisty Democratic opponent. It's a district that has a Republican edge, so presumably he's got the edge here, and he's trying to play those chances. But she's pointing out that Bob won't show up where she does.
And not surprising, as you're alluding to.
Well, we had an event this past week at the University of Toledo. It was put on by some women's groups. Not a venue that was going to support Bob in any way, shape, or form, Bob Latta. But still, he could have come there and made the case for his positions. There was the Libertarian candidate, Eric Eberly, came, and he was very well received. And
does he have a shot in this race?
You know, I never want to say nobody has a shot, but this has been a Republican district going back since long before either one of us was born.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about, last Sunday you brought out an article talking about how either side is trying to claim victory for the rebirth, the resurgence of the state of Ohio, whether it be President Obama saving the auto industry through the stimulus plan, or John Kasich really implementing a better strategy in the Republican view of how to run government here in the state of Ohio, trimming back. And you said Ohio has the country's second highest number of auto manufacturing related jobs, 848,000, a number Democrats cite often because it is 1/8 of all the jobs in the state. But you point out, however, only 120,000 and change are directly involved in making cars and car parts. So is that kind of a misnomer, some of the factoids that are being put out there?
Even that 120,000 is somewhat of a is somewhat inflated, I would say, because I think in that 120,000, I think you have people who provide accounting services and legal services to these auto supply. It's not every one of that 120,000 is actually stamping out parts.
Right.
So it's a little bit of and this is the point Republicans try to make, is that it's a little bit of a stretch. But still, Michigan has the most car and car part jobs in the country. Ohio has the second. Indiana has third. The auto rescue, as the Obama campaign administration refers to it, kept the auto industry afloat. Now, you can argue about whether that was good long-term policy, whether that was true to the framers' intent, whatever you want to say. It kept the auto industry afloat, and it's given kind of a rebirth. And they've had profits, they've had sales, they've rolled out new products, they're hiring people. They didn't crash in a liquidation.
You look at some of the news that has come out over the last couple of weeks, and talking about the resurgence of jobs and the way the economy is kind of rebounding. But again and again, and I saw it this morning, we're taping on Thursday, I saw it this morning in the talk of the president and the Democratic Party may have, I guess, new birth because of the seasonal workforce that's going to be implemented. All these companies, but those are all these companies that are going to hire in seasonal workers. But once again, you got to take that with a grain of salt, do you not? Because those jobs are here in December, gone in January.
Right. Of course, if you're the person getting that job, it's a job to you, and it's always good to have.
But in the bigger scheme
of things,
how does that help?
They're not full-time jobs, and retail jobs aren't. I mean, they're important and all, but the type of jobs you want are jobs making things, are jobs for professionals, jobs that require skill, jobs that pay a living wage that a family can live on, middle-class jobs. And there's some question about whether the economy is really gaining those types of jobs, or whether it's all just froth. You know, it's just retail and you know, stimulus-funded jobs.
Getting back to voting, I was looking back in 2010 when we went to the polls in November. Of course, John Kasich brought into office, but you look at the turnout. Turnout was just god-awful. You had less than half of the voting contingent in a major election showing up. What's your vibe right now as far as we get closer to the November date and people actually showing up and casting a ballot?
Well, gubernatorial elections are always lower turnout than presidential elections. Presidential elections are where you get, you know, well over 50% of the registered voters.
But it benefited Republicans, did it not? The low turnout, yeah.
Well, a Republican won, and it was a Republican
And
year.
congressional.
It was a Republican year. There was probably some depression on the Democratic side. That's why you saw Democrats lose around the country. It was not really a Democratic year. It was a Republican year. The Tea Party was ascendant, and so the Republican candidates won, took advantage of that, and they won. They swept the state. This year, I think the vibe is more even. If anything, I would say there's more steam and momentum on the side of the Democrats. They feel a lot stronger. They feel that they are in the driver's seat here. They feel they've got Mitt Romney somewhat on the ropes, somewhat on the defensive. And as far as turnout,
Because of the ads that have come out, because of the videos that have come out?
well, I would say it's
It seems for every tit there's a tat that has come out over the last couple of weeks.
well, Romney, was this video came out of him saying 47% of the electorate are dependent on government and not going to vote. I don't think it helped him in any way. I think it turned off a lot of...
Is it just because of the tone? Because it's been proven that what he was saying was accurate.
Well, I think it's accurate. I think it's true that 47% don't pay taxes, but I don't think it's true that 47% are equal to the 47%, if that's the number, that are so, quote, dependent on government.
Yeah.
So I think there are two different groups, and I think some of those 47% who don't pay taxes are Republicans, and they might not have liked being characterized this way, and those who were not aren't going to appreciate being apparently dismissed as not important to a President Romney.
You can read Tom Troy in the Toledo Blade, our media partner here with 13 ABC. Tom, it's a pleasure to have you here on the Roundtable.
Nice to be with you, Jeff.
Thank you so much. Stay right there. We'll wrap things up for this Sunday right after this.